Hello, my name's Mark Scott Zicree, and I'm here to tell you about an exciting new series of films called Space Command that we need your help to make a reality.
6, 5, 4, 3,
We've all seen this episode of The Twilight Zone, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. It's one of the great moments in TV history where William Shatner sees a gremlin on the wing. But what most of us weren't aware of at the time was that it was another great moment in TV history as well. The moment when the great spaceship captain of the 1960s, William Shatner, met the great spaceship captain of the 1950s, Ed Kemmer, who played Buzz Corey on Space Patrol.
Space Patrol!
I'm the author of The Twilight Zone Companion. I'm also a writer, producer, director, with extensive credits in film and TV, including Forever Knight, Babylon 5, Star Trek The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine.
An amazing episode where it was all about these 50 science fiction writers, and for me it was one of the greatest Deep Space Nine episodes ever done. And I met Mark and got chatting, and he was a cool guy, and then he said, "Oh, by the way, I did that episode." I said, "Really? You did that episode?" And I realized at that moment that I was sitting in the presence of someone great.
I also developed Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future.
And he also did Sliders, which was a really cool TV show.
As I was given the opportunity to invent and reinvent shows, I found myself in my natural element.
He reinvented Sliders and brought it back to life.
And the viewers came back to the show. We got the highest rating in the history of the Sci-Fi Channel for any show.
So his reputation is unprecedented.
The visual aesthetic of science fiction in the 1950s was quite wonderful, with Space Patrol and Tom Corbett's Space Cadet and Forbidden Planet, and the wonderful writing of Robert Heinlein, Isaac Asimov, Ray Bradbury, and Arthur C. Clarke, and illustrators like Wally Wood and Chesley Bonestell and Virgil Finlay and Al Williamson were creating a vision of the future that was really incredible and wonderful. You had a future that was hopeful and heroic, and that we could all subscribe to and believe in and actually feel that we were going to be a part of. And I wanted to create something that could be hopeful again, that could be positive and forward-looking. And Space Command is not going to be nostalgic or tongue-in-cheek or quaint. It's going to be using every bit of our ability and our talent to make something that we can all be part of, that we can believe in again, a future that includes all of us at our best. A few years ago, I was at a science fiction convention. I was on a panel relating to Star Trek, and I learned that there were a group of fans making their own Star Trek episodes called Star Trek New Voyages. So I called my friend Michael Reeves, who was an Emmy winner who had written for Star Trek The Next Generation, and he had a great idea for an episode involving Sulu. Michael and I wrote the script. I reached out to George Takei. He came aboard, and we made an episode called World Enough in Time. It was 12 shooting days in New York and here in LA, and ultimately it got nominated for the Hugo and the Nebula, and it was the first independent project ever nominated for those awards. We were up against Pan's Labyrinth, Battlestar Galactica, Doctor Who. All our competition were studio-made products. And we made it for under $100,000, and I realized that you could make something of a quality that could go toe-to-toe with the studio and networks, and if you just had the right friends and the right heart and the right talent, that you could make something that would stand the test of time. And I'm more proud of that episode than anything else I've done in television or film in my 30-year career. A key member of our team is the renowned Doug Drexler, special effects wizard on Star Trek The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, Voyager.
Best known for Battlestar Galactica over the last 6 years. We got a couple of Emmys for that.
He won an Oscar, Saturn Awards, British Awards, on and on and on. He also worked on Caprica, and he's just finished Blood and Chrome, which is the Galactica prequel. When I did World Enough in Time, I reached out to Doug, and he was terrific to work with, just inventive, brilliant. So, of course, when I had the idea of doing Space Command, he was one of the first people I called.
What you could do today is just through the roof with the technology that's available. And we go to town every day. When we go to work, we have a blast.
The thing about Doug that makes him truly remarkable is that he doesn't just see himself as someone generating effect shots. He's part of our story team, part of the vision of the show. And so his work goes hand in hand with everything we're coming up with everything that we're generating, and the work he's done already on Space Command has been just astonishing and just takes my breath away.
A lot of things that we've learned over the years will go into this show, and we're really excited about it.
Another member of our team is producer-director Neil Johnson, who made 8 features in a row, science fiction films, all profitable, and they were of an amazing level of quality given their budgets. So I turned to Neil when I got this idea for Space Command. And I said, okay, I want to make these films with you.
One thing I learned, no matter how many good visual effects you can have and everything else, it's all about the story and the character. And that's really what we're investing in here, is creating something that people are going to love, to want to come back to and enjoy.
Another person I brought aboard was my friend Michael Reeves. Michael has sold over 400 TV episodes. He won an Emmy for Batman the Animated Series. He wrote for Star Trek The Next Generation. We co-wrote Star Trek New Voyages, World Enough and Time. And Michael currently is writing Star Wars novels for George Lucas and co-writing the Interworld series of books with Neil Gaiman. Another part of my writing staff is Mark Haynes. And Mark comes out of comic books. He wrote for titles as 24 and Battlestar Galactica. He's also worked for Overstreet, so he knows comic books, graphic novels. I first met Mike Okuda when we were doing Star Trek The Next Generation. He's one of these guys who is a problem solver, so he can take something where you've got very little money and he can make it look phenomenal. Definitely, we're inviting a number of my friends to be part of Space Command, and that includes Armin Shimmerman, who played Quark on Deep Space Nine and the principal on Buffy.
I know with Mark directing and writing it that there'll be a great deal of honesty, of adventure, of excitement.
Ethan Phillips, who played Neelix on Voyager, Doug Jones, who played Pan in Pan's Labyrinth, and Abe Sapien in Hellboy, Robert Picardo, who was the holographic doctor on Star Trek Voyager and also in tons of science fiction. And of course, we're going to include George Noory, my friend from the very popular radio show Coast to Coast AM. It wouldn't be a party without him. I've known Billy Mumy since the Lost in Space days, and we worked together on Babylon 5, so I definitely want him to be part of this. George Takei, who I worked with on Star Trek New Voyages, World Enough and Time. Rachel Luttrell from Stargate Atlantis, who's a new friend that I very much want to work with. I often hear the fans say, why are there so few good science fiction shows on the air, and why do the good ones so often go south? I can tell you, frankly, most of the network suits just don't get it. But you and I do. And thanks to Kickstarter and thanks to you, we don't need them anymore. We can make Space Command a series of films that will delight, enthrall, stand the test of time, be wonderful. I thank you for helping make this dream come true, and I look forward to the continuing adventure.